one of the best boxers in history, where he managed to destroy his opponents in a few rounds. His power and speed were unimaginable. A boxing monster, but besides his iron fists, there is a story full of pain which all started when he was born on June 30th, 1966. Mike's family was very poor. He had two brothers, Mike being the youngest of them, and his parents were struggling to live. Mike Tyson's father, Jimmy Kirkpatrick, left the family when Mike was very young. According to reports, Jimmy left the family around 1968, when Mike Tyson was just 2 years old. Even today, it is not known why he left his family. The father's absence contributed to a deep sense of abandonment and insecurity in Mike's life. This feeling of abandonment was an emotional stressor and influenced how Mike perceived and interacted with others. He was shy and introverted at first, finding himself an easy target for bullies. Lorna Mae Tyson's mother did not have many resources. She did everything she could to ensure the survival of her children. And because of the lack of money, the family necessitated a move to Brownsville when Tyson was 10 years old. The neighborhood had high rates of crime and violence. There were also problems with gangs and street conflicts. These conditions were an integral part of the residents' daily lives and had a direct impact on young people like Mike Tyson. Mike as a child had a passion for pigeons. He loved them, he was playing with them, until one day a boy stole Mike's bird. Little Tyson asked him to give him the bird back. The bully keeps shouting at Mike, "Do you want the bird? Do you want the bird?" While he was slapping him, after he broke the pigeon's head with his own hands and he threw the bird at Mike, splashing him with blood, Tyson's friend encouraged him to defend himself, so Mike started the fight with the bully and he won. Then Mike discovered his talent and fighting skills, but unfortunately he was using them for the wrong purposes. At only 13 years old, he was arrested 38 times, and then he ended up at the Tryon School for Boys in Johnstown, New York. It looked like Mike's life was going to be a disaster, but what happened next changed his life completely. Tyson's emerging boxing ability was discovered there by Bobby Stewart. Bobby was a former boxer and a counselor at the Juvenile Detention Center where Mike Tyson was held. Stewart had a background in boxing and had a keen eye for young talent, which led him to take an interest in Tyson. Bobby Stewart met Tyson during one of his visits to the Tryon School for Boys. Recognizing Tyson's raw potential, Stewart was struck by Tyson's natural aggression and potential for boxing. He saw something special in him that could be honed into a formidable boxing talent. Bobby trained Tyson for a few months. After that, he introduced Mike to a boxer manager and trainer, Cus D'Amato. He was an influential and legendary boxing trainer and manager, best known for guiding the careers of several world-class boxers. His unique approach to training, both mentally and physically, as well as his role as a mentor and father figure to many of his fighters, made him a key figure in the world of boxing. Several successful boxing trainers, including Teddy Atlas and Kevin Rooney, were tutored by D'Amato. He was a proponent of the peekaboo style of boxing, in which the fighter holds his gloves close to his cheeks and pulls his arms tight against his torso, which was criticized by some because it was believed that an efficient attack could not be launched from it. He had a brief career as an amateur boxer, fighting as a featherweight and lightweight, but was unable to get a professional license because of an eye injury he had suffered in a street fight. Cus said in an interview that his father was an abusive and horrible person. He confessed that he was beaten by his father several times, but still he didn't hold a grudge against him because he taught him what discipline means. At age 22, D'Amato opened the Empire Sporting Club with Jack Barrow at Gramercy Gym. He lived in the gym for years. According to D'Amato, he spent his time at the gym waiting for a champion, but his best fighters were routinely poached by connected managers. Now let's move on with Mike Tyson's story. Also, Kevin Rooney trained Tyson, and he was occasionally assisted by Teddy Atlas, although Atlas was dismissed by D'Amato when Tyson was 15. Rooney eventually took over all training duties for the young fighter. Later, Tyson dropped out of high school as a junior. He was awarded an honorary doctorate in humane letters from Central State University in 1989 for his remarkable personal journey, his influence beyond the realm of sports, and his contributions to society. Central State University chose to honor Tyson because he embodied the values of resilience, determination, and the potential for positive change, making him a fitting recipient of such a prestigious award. When everything seemed to be fine in his life, something terrible and shocking happened that marked his life. His mother died of cancer when Mike Tyson was only 16 years old, having a huge impact on his life. But he was still left in good hands. His trainer D'Amato became his legal guardian and took care of him. Cus D'Amato quickly became more than just a boxing trainer to Tyson. He filled the void left by Tyson's absent father. D'Amato provided Tyson with not only the skills to become a great boxer, but also the guidance, discipline, and emotional support that he desperately needed. D'Amato believed in Tyson's potential from the very beginning, telling him that he would become the youngest heavyweight champion in history, a prediction that came true in 1986. Now let's talk about Mike Tyson's amateur fighting career. Well, his amateur boxing career was short but highly impactful, showcasing his exceptional talent and setting the stage for his transition to professional boxing. Tyson's first major amateur boxing tournament was the 1981 New York Golden Gloves. At just 15 years old, he competed in the junior middleweight division and won the tournament, demonstrating his power and skill against older, more experienced fighters. Tyson continued to make waves in the amateur boxing scene, winning the 1981 National Golden Gloves title in the light heavyweight division. This victory further solidified his reputation as a rising star in boxing. In addition to his Golden Gloves victories, Tyson also won the 1982 Silver Gloves and the 1982 Junior Olympic Games in the heavyweight division. These wins highlighted his dominance and potential in the heavyweight class. One of Tyson's notable amateur wins was against James Tillis, who would later become a notable professional heavyweight. Tyson's quick and decisive victories in the amateur ranks caught the attention of many in the boxing world. Mike started his professional career at the young age of only 18 on March 6, 1985, finding something impossible for many people, succeeding in defeating Hector Mercedes via first-round TKO in his professional career, managing to have 15 bouts in his first year as a professional. Fighting frequently, Tyson won 26 of his first 28 fights by KO or TKO. 16 of those came in the first round, having an incredible performance. Unfortunately, Cus D'Amato, the only father he had, died in November 1985 due to pneumonia at the age of 77. Tyson felt a profound sense of being left behind without the strong guiding hand that D'Amato had provided. After the death of Cus D'Amato in November 1985, Kevin Rooney became the primary trainer for Mike Tyson. Under Rooney's guidance, Tyson remained a dominant force in boxing. Rooney was known for his strong emphasis on technique, discipline, and maintaining the aggressive style that had been a hallmark of Tyson's success. However, the connection between the two was not as close as it was with D'Amato. Tyson's first nationally televised bout took place on February 16, 1986, at Houston Fieldhouse in Troy, New York, against journeyman heavyweight Jesse Ferguson, and was carried by ABC Sports. Tyson knocked down Ferguson with an uppercut in the 5th round that broke Ferguson's nose. During the 6th round, Ferguson began to hold and clinch Tyson in an apparent attempt to avoid further punishment. After admonishing Ferguson several times to obey his commands to box, the referee finally stopped the fight near the middle of the 6th round. The fight was initially ruled a win for Tyson by disqualification of his opponent. The ruling was adjusted to a win by technical knockout, after Tyson's corner protested that a DQ win would end Tyson's string of knockout victories, and that a knockout would have been the inevitable result. In July, after recording 6 more knockout victories, Tyson fought former world title challenger Marvis Frazier in Glens Falls, New York, on another ABC Sports broadcast. Tyson won easily, charging at Frazier at the opening bell and hitting him with 2 consecutive uppercuts, the second of which knocked Frazier unconscious 30 seconds into the fight. After the fight with Frazier, Mike was supposed to fight Jose Ribalta at the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. Tyson knocked down Ribalta 3 times in the 2nd, 8th, and 10th round when the referee called the fight off. Tyson would go on to say that Ribalta was his toughest fight. On November 22, 1986, Tyson was given his first title fight against Trevor Berbick for the World Boxing Council, WBC Heavyweight Championship. Tyson won the title by TKO in the 2nd round, and at the age of 20 years and 4 months became the youngest heavyweight champion in history. Expectations for Tyson were extremely high, and he was the favorite to win the Heavyweight Unification Series, a tournament designed to establish an undisputed heavyweight champion. Tyson defended his title against James Smith on March 7, 1987, in Las Vegas, Nevada. He won by unanimous decision and added Smith's World Boxing Association, WBA, title to his existing belt. Another fight in October of that year, ended with a victory for Tyson over 1984 Olympic super heavyweight gold medalist Tyrell Biggs by TKO in the 7th round. During this time, Tyson came to the attention of gaming company Nintendo. After witnessing one of Tyson's fights, Nintendo of America president Minoru Arakawa was impressed by the fighter's power and skill, prompting him to suggest Tyson be included in the upcoming Nintendo Entertainment System port of the Punch-Out! Arcade game. In 1987, Nintendo released Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!, which was well received and sold more than 1 million copies. Tyson was a monster back then. Everyone was scared to fight him. Tyson had 3 fights in 1988. He faced Larry Holmes on January 22, 1988, and defeated the legendary former champion by KO in the 4th round. This was the only knockout loss Holmes had in 75 professional bouts. In March, Tyson then fought contender Tony Tubbs in Tokyo, Japan, fitting in an easy 2nd-round TKO victory amid promotional and marketing work. On June 27, 1988, Tyson faced Michael Spinks, who had taken the heavyweight championship from Larry Holmes via 15-round decision in 1985. And what do you think happened? Of course, Tyson knocked Spinks out in the 1st round. Many consider this to be the pinnacle of Tyson's fame and boxing ability. In October 7, 1988, Mike Tyson married actress Robin Givens, but their relationship did not last long. One of the most infamous moments in their marriage occurred in September 1988 during a televised interview with Barbara Walters on 20/20. During the interview, Givens described her marriage to Tyson as torture, pure hell, and accused him of being physically abusive. Tyson, who was sitting next to her during the interview, remained mostly silent, which only added to the public fascination and concern about their relationship. After 1 year, Givens filed for divorce. In late 1988, Tyson parted with manager Bill Caton and fired longtime trainer Kevin Rooney, the man many credit for honing Tyson's craft after the death of D'Amato. Following Rooney's departure, critics alleged that Tyson began to show less head movement and combination punching. But why did he fire him? Well, Mike fired him due to the growing influence of promoter Don King, who wanted to take control of Tyson's career and saw Rooney as an obstacle. Additionally, personal tensions and Tyson's desire to assert his independence played a role in the decision. In February 1990, the fight between Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas took place in Tokyo. Tyson did catch Douglas with an uppercut in the 8th round and knocked him to the floor, but Douglas recovered sufficiently to hand Tyson a heavy beating in the subsequent 2 rounds. Just 35 seconds into the 10th round, Douglas unleashed a brutal uppercut, followed by a 4-punch combination of hooks that knocked Tyson down for the first time in his career. After the fight, the Tyson camp would complain that the count was slow and that Douglas had taken longer than 10 seconds to get back on his feet. But I think Douglas deserved, because he promised his mother that he would beat Mike Tyson. Sadly, his mother, Lula Pearl Douglas, died of a stroke on January 18, 1990, just 23 days before the fight. Buster was in shock and deeply lost, but his mother's death motivated him to train hard and fulfill his promise. Despite the shocking loss, Tyson has said that losing to Douglas was the greatest moment of his career. I needed that fight to make me a better person and fighter. I have a broader perspective of myself in boxing. After the loss, Tyson recovered with 1st-round knockouts of Henry Tillman and Alex Stewart in his next 2 fights. Tyson's victory over Tillman, the 1984 Olympic heavyweight gold medalist, enabled Tyson to avenge his amateur losses at Tillman's hands. Tyson, who was the #1 contender, faced #2 contender Donovan Razor Ruddock on March 18, 1991 in Las Vegas. Ruddock was seen as the most dangerous heavyweight around and was thought of as one of the hardest punching heavyweights. Tyson and Ruddock went back and forth for most of the fight, until referee Richard Steele controversially stopped the fight during the 7th round in favor of Tyson. This decision infuriated the fans in attendance, sparking a post-fight melee in the audience. Tyson and Ruddock met again on June 28 that year, with Tyson knocking down Ruddock twice and winning a 12-round. Later, something terrible happened to Mike, which no one thought he would be in such a state. In July 1991, he was arrested for the rape of 18-year-old Desiree Washington at the Canterbury Hotel in Indianapolis. Tyson was charged with 1 count of rape, 2 counts of criminal deviant conduct, and 1 count of criminal confinement charges. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison but served only 3 years. However, after he got out of prison, he had a fabulous comeback in the world of boxing. Despite his actions, many of Tyson's fans and supporters continued to support him and see him as a talented and charismatic fighter. They believed he deserved a second chance and were looking forward to seeing him back in the ring. Tyson regained one belt by easily winning the WBC title against Frank Bruno in March 1996. It was the second fight between the two, and Tyson knocked out Bruno in the third round. On November 9, 1996, in Las Vegas, Nevada, Tyson faced Holyfield in a title bout, dubbed Finally. In a surprising turn of events, Holyfield, who was given virtually no chance to win by numerous commentators, defeated Tyson by TKO when referee Mitch Halpern stopped the bout in round 11. Holyfield became the second boxer to win a heavyweight championship belt 3 times. Holyfield's victory was marred by allegations from Tyson's camp of Holyfield's frequent headbutts during the bout. Although the headbutts were ruled accidental by the referee, they would become a point of contention in the rematch. Soon to become one of the most controversial events in modern sports, the fight was stopped at the end of the third round, with Tyson disqualified for biting Holyfield on both ears. The first time Tyson bit him, the match was temporarily stopped. Referee Mills Lane deducted 2 points from Tyson and the fight resumed. However, after the match resumed, Tyson bit him again, resulting in his disqualification, and Holyfield won the match. The first bite was severe enough to remove a piece of Holyfield's right ear, which was found on the ring floor after the fight. Tyson later stated that his actions were retaliation for Holyfield repeatedly headbutting him without penalty. After this incident, Mike received a lot of hate from his fans and suffered some painful consequences. He was fined $3 million by the Nevada Athletic Commission for his misconduct. He was suspended from boxing competitions for 12 months and ordered to attend a psychological counseling program. His boxing license was suspended, but was reinstated in 1998 after Tyson met the conditions set by the commission. Tyson once again had the opportunity to fight for a heavyweight championship in 2002. Lennox Lewis held the WBC, IBF, IBO, and lineal titles at the time. As promising fighters, Tyson and Lewis had sparred at a training camp in a meeting arranged by Cus D'Amato in 1984. Tyson sought to fight Lewis in Nevada for a more lucrative box office venue, but the Nevada Boxing Commission refused him a license to box as he was facing possible sexual assault charges at the time. On July 30, 2004, Tyson had a match against British boxer Danny Williams in another comeback fight, and this time staged in Louisville, Kentucky. Tyson dominated the opening 2 rounds. The third round was even, with Williams getting in some clean blows and also a few illegal ones, for which he was penalized. In the fourth round, Tyson was unexpectedly knocked out. After the fight, it was revealed that Tyson was trying to fight on one leg, having torn a ligament in his other knee in the first round. This was Tyson's 5th career defeat. On June 11, 2005, Tyson quit before the start of the 7th round in a close bout against journeyman Kevin McBride. In the 2008 documentary, Tyson, he stated that he fought McBride for a payday, that he did not anticipate winning, that he was in poor physical condition and fed up with taking boxing seriously. After losing 3 of his last 4 fights, Tyson said he would quit boxing because he felt he had lost his passion for the sport, and Mike starts walking crookedly again. In August 2007, Tyson pleaded guilty to drug possession and driving under the influence in an Arizona court, which stemmed from an arrest in December where authorities said Tyson, who has a long history of legal contentions, admitted to using cocaine that day. After a long time, Mike decided to fight against Jake Paul. This fight will be one of the most embarrassing fights for Jake in my opinion, especially if he loses. However, Mike accepted this fight more for money. Anyway, now Mike is old and tries to help his 6 children and spend more time with them, especially after what happened with his daughter Exodus. Now Mike is 58 years old, and we hope he has learned something from his mistakes he made in his youth. And who knows, maybe he will become the coach of someone like Cus D'Amato.